My husband stood up at my birthday dinner and said this. 32 and still trying to find a personality. Then fast cut. I smiled, paid the bill, and quietly planned his collapse. I turned 32 the night my husband turned into a stranger. It started with a dinner. My birthday. A long table, twinkling lights, friends, wine, laughter that didn't quite reach my chest. I remember the dress I wore, soft green silk, picked out weeks ago, because I wanted to feel beautiful, wanted to feel seen. I didn't expect to be humiliated. Not by him. Not by the man I had built a life around. We were at this little Italian place, the kind with real candles and waiters who pronounced gnocchi like a song. I had just blown out the candles on my cake when it happened. Everyone was clapping. My best friend Liz was filming on her phone. And then Mark stood up to make a toast. He clinked his glass, cleared his throat, and smiled that smug little smile he does when he thinks he's the cleverest man in the room. I just want to say, he began, swaying slightly from his third glass of wine, happy birthday to my beautiful wife. 32 and still trying to find a personality. Laughter. A few chuckles. Then silence. Dead silence. My heart stopped. My face flushed. I laughed, weakly, hoping, praying, he was kidding. That there was a punchline coming. He raised his glass again. Cheers to aging like milk, babe. Someone coughed. Liz's mouth was literally open. Her boyfriend stared at the table. My boss, who Mark insisted we invite, looked like she wanted to melt into her chair. And I sat there, smiling. Because I didn't know what else to do. Because I've spent years being the cool wife. The one who can take a joke. But it wasn't a joke. It was a message. It was war. Mark slid back into his seat and took a sip of wine like he hadn't just burned our entire marriage to the ground. The conversation stuttered back to life, nervously, awkwardly, but the air was thick with tension. I didn't taste a single bite of that cake. When we got home, I didn't say a word. Just kicked off my heels, peeled off my dress, and went straight into the bathroom. I sat on the edge of the tub, staring at the tile floor, trying to make sense of what happened. Trying to pretend it wasn't what it was. But the moment that replayed in my head, over and over again, was the look on his face. Smug. Proud. Like he enjoyed it. Like watching me squirm in front of my friends gave him some sick thrill. I confronted him. Quietly. Just one question. Why would you say that? He didn't even flinch. Relax, he said, scrolling through his phone. It was a joke. You're so sensitive lately. Maybe because you're getting older. I think something inside me snapped. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just a quiet click. Like a lock turning. A door closing. It wasn't about the joke. It never is it? It was the years of little digs. The subtle put-downs. The way he always had to be the smart one, the funny one, the one in control. I had spent 5 years married to a man who didn't love me. He loved how I made him look. I went to bed in silence that night. Not angry. Just done. 2 days later, something strange happened. I got a message from an unknown Instagram account. Just a photo. Mark. At a hotel bar. Arm around a woman I'd never seen before. Her hand on his thigh. The caption? He told me he was divorced. My stomach turned. I zoomed in on the background. Recognized it instantly. He was there last Tuesday. The night he told me he had a late meeting. My hands were shaking. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stared. Because somewhere deep inside me, I already knew. Some part of me had known for months. He was pulling away. More secretive. Always on his phone. Less interested in me unless I was performing for guests or smiling in couple photos. I didn't want to believe it. But now I had proof. You know the worst part? It wasn't even the betrayal. It was how unshocked I felt. How expected it all seemed. Like the joke at dinner wasn't a one-time slip. It was a preview. A warning. And I had ignored it. I stared at that photo all night. Memorized every pixel. Every shadow. Every sick little detail. By morning, I had a plan. I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't confront. I wouldn't beg. I would just watch. Because some people don't need to be punished. They just need a long enough rope to hang themselves with. After the photo, I didn't sleep. I just laid there, eyes wide, body still, while Mark snored beside me like the most loyal husband on earth. I stared at the ceiling and counted how many lies it must have taken to get here. How many fake meetings? How many dead phone batteries? How many times he said, I love you, just to keep the show running. But I didn't say a word. Not yet. Instead, I waited. That morning, he kissed me on the cheek and said he'd be home late again. Client drinks. He even winked. Like it was a game. I smiled back. Like it was war. The second the door closed, I went to work. Mark is lazy. He uses the same password for everything, and I mean everything. I had seen it once, years ago, while he typed it into a streaming app. He never changed it. I opened his laptop, logged into his Dropbox, and there it was. A folder named Work. Very original. Inside, videos, photos, screenshots, dates, names. Not one woman. Not two. 9. Some looked young. Some were clearly married. But all of them had something in common. Me. Photos of us were tucked into his little collection. Vacation selfies, anniversary dinners. Like trophies. Like proof. Like comparison. In one file, he was messaging a woman while I was sitting next to him on the couch, watching a movie. The timestamp didn't lie. I scrolled through page after page of garbage, until I found a subfolder titled, Rules. I froze. What kind of man keeps rules for cheating? I opened it. A plain text file. One sentence per line. It read like some kind of twisted playbook. Never text them after midnight. No gifts over $100. Too suspicious. Rotate hotels every 3 months. Never use real name with bartenders. And the worst one? Wife always forgives. Keep her just happy enough. My hands were shaking. My mouth was dry. I wanted to scream, to throw the laptop across the room. But instead, I smiled. Because finally, I saw him clearly. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a slip-up or a mistake or a we drifted apart. It was a system, a strategy. He wasn't just cheating on me. He was managing me. That night, I pretended like everything was normal. Dinner, dishes, joking about a TV show I wasn't even watching. He kissed my forehead and said I was his favorite person in the world. I nearly laughed. But not yet. Because this wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about exposure. You can't fix a man like Mark. You can't change him. But you can make sure the world sees who he really is. And trust me, the world was about to find out. Because what Mark forgot, what every narcissist forgets, is that the quiet ones are always watching. And we never come unprepared. The next morning, I booked a lunch reservation. For 2. Not for me and Mark. For me and his mother. She always liked me, probably more than she liked her own son. She'd once told me I was the best thing that ever happened to him. And honestly, she wasn't wrong. I didn't message her with drama. I didn't call crying. I just sent a calm little text. Hey, would love to catch up this week. Just you and me. She replied in 2 minutes. Of course, sweetie. Everything okay. I just need to talk. Woman to woman. We met at this cozy cafe near her house. She hugged me tight, complimented my earrings, and sat across from me with concern written all over her face. I waited until we'd ordered tea. Then I pulled out my phone and showed her the Dropbox folder. Just the titles. Not the content. Her eyes narrowed. Then she scrolled, and froze. What is this? I didn't say a word. I just let her read. After a minute, she set the phone down. Her lips were tight, hands clenched. How long? I looked her dead in the eyes. Years. She went quiet. Then she whispered, And you're still here? That stung, but I understood what she meant. Not for long, I said. She nodded, slowly, like something inside her broke, too. That night, Mark came home like nothing had changed. Kissed me, asked what was for dinner. Took a shower while humming some stupid tune like a sitcom husband. I watched him, like a stranger, like a creature I didn't recognize anymore. I had shared a bed with this man for 5 years. And now I couldn't look at him without feeling dirty. He sat on the couch with his laptop, probably texting one of his little projects, while I stood in the hallway just watching. I wanted to scream. I wanted to burn it all down. But instead, I picked up his dry cleaning. I made his favorite meal. I kissed him goodnight. Because he needed to believe everything was fine. Until it wasn't. 2 days later, I got a text. From a name I didn't recognize. It was one of the women. Her message was short. Are you his wife? My stomach twisted. I replied, yes. Then, silence. For 10 minutes. Then she sent me everything. Screenshots. Messages. Selfies. Hotel receipts. She'd met him on a work trip. He told her I was his ex-wife. That we still lived together because of finances. He even showed her a fake divorce document. She was horrified. Humiliated. And she wasn't the only one. By the end of the day, I had messages from 3 more women. All with the same story. Mark, the sad divorced man with a bitter ex who still lived with him for the dog. I couldn't believe it. He used our dog as part of his cheating routine. That was it. Something in me snapped. This man wasn't just a liar. He was a predator. And predators? They don't deserve silence. They deserve a stage. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I say it's best served with appetizers, champagne, and a 1080p projector. The plan came together faster than I expected. It turns out when a man cheats on 9 women and lies to every single one of them, he builds himself a fan club of very angry women. I didn't even have to convince them. The moment I said, "Do you want him to feel what we felt?" they were in. One of them, Dana, worked in event planning. Another, Alyssa, had a rooftop space she used for photo shoots. By Friday, we had a guest list, a venue, a playlist, and a presentation. Yes, a literal presentation. Here's how it went down. I told Mark I was planning a surprise birthday dinner for my friend Liz, which was technically true. She was invited. I asked him to wear something nice. Told him there'd be sushi and wine and some people from work. He looked smug, said he'd be the hot husband at the table, and winked. God, that wink. I nearly threw up. The night of the party, I wore a black dress and red lipstick. Classic. Clean. Unapologetic. He wore a blazer and sprayed on the cologne he saves for business trips. Fitting. The rooftop was glowing. Candles, fairy lights, champagne flutes clinking in the warm air. Mark walked in and paused. His eyes scanned the crowd. Confused. Because he recognized faces. A few too many faces. Alyssa. Dana. Julia. Me. Then his mother. She was standing in the corner, arms crossed, with that sharp, terrifying look only mothers can deliver. He blinked. What is this? I smiled sweetly. A presentation. The music faded. The lights dimmed. And the projector screen lit up behind him. Slide 1. How to lose everything in 9 easy steps. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just clicked through the slides. Each one a name. A date. A message. A receipt. A quote. You're not like my wife. We're just roommates now. She let herself go. I watched his face collapse in real time. Like a building someone forgot to anchor. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. Everyone was silent. Except for the projector fan, whirring softly like applause. His mother stepped forward. Mark. Her voice was calm. I see. Go home. He looked at me. Like I was supposed to save him. I didn't even blink. He left. Alone. The rest of us? We toasted. We laughed. We took a group photo under the fairy lights. One by one, they hugged me. Said thank you. Said they felt sane again. Said, you're stronger than I could have been. But I didn't feel strong. I felt empty. Because when the show ends, and the lights go out, all that's left is the cleanup. And I wasn't done yet. After the rooftop, I thought it was over. People clapped. He ran. I won. Right? Wrong. Because narcissists don't disappear. They retreat. They regroup. And then they strike back. Harder, dirtier, louder. It started subtly. A few days after the presentation, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Hope you're proud of yourself. Blocked. Then a fake Instagram account commented on a photo of me and my dog. She cheated first. Ask her about Chicago winking face. Deleted. Blocked. Then my boss pulled me into her office. Closed the door. Folded her hands and said, "We received an anonymous email. About you." I froze. She showed me the screen. Someone claiming I had stolen corporate files. That I was emotionally unstable. That I abused company resources for a personal vendetta. I couldn't breathe. But I knew exactly who sent it. Mark. He wasn't just trying to smear my name. He was trying to erase me. Destroy everything I'd built. Because if a man like that loses control, he doesn't just fall. He explodes. And takes as much down with him as he can. I spent that week fighting for my job, my sanity, my reputation. I had to explain to HR that my soon-to-be ex-husband was on a warpath. That he was trying to make me look unstable, unprofessional, dangerous. And the worst part? They believed me. Eventually. But they didn't forget it. Every meeting after that, every look from a colleague, carried the quiet whisper of, is it true? That's what Mark wanted. Not to hurt me. To haunt me. Then came the letter. Handwritten. No return address. Slipped under my apartment door. I recognized the handwriting instantly. His. Inside, one photo. Me. At the rooftop. Holding the clicker. Smiling. And a note. You look so proud of yourself. But don't forget. I know what you've done too. That was the moment I realized something terrifying. This wasn't about heartbreak. It was about ownership. Mark didn't love me. He owned me. And now that he'd lost me, he was going to make damn sure no one else would want me either. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I packed a bag. And I left. No goodbye. No forwarding address. Just gone. I stayed with a friend out of town. Changed my number. Logged out of every account. Went dark. Because some wars can't be won with words or photos or clever rooftop presentations. Some wars are won by surviving. And survival? Sometimes means disappearing. 3 days into disappearing, I woke up on a friend's pull-out couch with sunlight on my face and silence in the room. No phone buzz. No tension. No pretending. I didn't cry. I just stared at the ceiling fan spinning above me and thought, this is what peace feels like. It was foreign, uncomfortable, almost wrong. Because for 5 years, I was addicted to chaos, to walking on eggshells, to checking his mood, to managing his ego like it was a second full-time job. And now, he was gone. And so was the noise. But the silence? It brought a different kind of storm. I started looking backward, really looking, at all the moments I'd buried under excuses. The time he joked about my weight at Christmas in front of his family. The way he'd accidentally forget my birthday 2 years in a row. How he once told me, after I cried during a fight, "You're too emotional. This is why no one else could ever deal with you." And I believed him. I really did. Because when you hear the same poison enough times, you stop tasting it. You just swallow it. And smile. But something else happened during those quiet days. People reached out. Not friends. Women. 2 more from the infamous Dropbox folder. One of them, her name was Harper, said something that stuck with me. He told me you were controlling. Cold. That you screamed at him all the time. I laughed when I read that. Because I never screamed. I should have. But I didn't. She continued. He made me feel like I was rescuing him. And there it was. His playbook. He turned me into the villain of his story, just convincing enough to sell it. Because if I was the problem, then every affair was justified. Every lie. Every night, he didn't come home. But the wildest message? It came from someone I didn't recognize. A woman named Erin. Not from the folder. Not from his phone. But from his past. She'd dated him before me. 3 years. Same story. Same pattern. Same ending. She told me he once proposed to her just to stop her from leaving. Said he cried on the floor for hours when she packed her bags. Sound familiar? He doesn't love people, she wrote. He consumes them. That night, I took a walk. No headphones. No distractions. Just me and my thoughts and a stupid bag of overpriced trail mix. And halfway around the block, I stopped walking. Because a thought hit me so hard, I literally froze. If I had stayed, I would have disappeared anyway. Not physically, but piece by piece. Smile by smile. Choice by choice. He would have erased me until I was just a prop in his story. A trophy wife with dead eyes and a fake laugh. And suddenly, running didn't feel like weakness anymore. It felt like resurrection. It had been 11 days since I vanished. 11 days of silence. Of sleeping without fear. Of opening windows without checking for shadows. I started to feel human again. I even laughed. Once. At a video of a raccoon stealing dog food. It was small, stupid, honest. And I remember thinking, is this what it's like to feel normal? But peace has a half-life when your past is still alive. And mine was texting me from someone else's phone. It happened on a Thursday. Liz, my best friend, texted me. Or, I thought it was her. She said, he's losing it. His mom cut him off. He's spiraling. I replied without hesitation. Good. Then, where are you? Are you okay? I miss you. That's when something shifted. Because Liz never said, I miss you. She's the tough love type. Her version of caring is sending memes and asking if I've eaten. I paused. I called her. Voicemail. Texted her directly from a private app. Hey, you just texted me. She replied in under a minute. No? What are you talking about? My blood ran cold. I screenshotted the fake conversation. Sent it to her. She replied, that's not me. But whoever it is, they're on your contact list. That's when I realized something terrifying. He didn't need to find me. He already had eyes on me. And those eyes were someone I trusted. So I started watching. Who had reached out lately? Who had checked in? Who was asking oddly specific questions like, where are you staying again? Are you still using the same number? You got any plans for Thanksgiving? Winking face. Then it hit me. Tara. Not a close friend. More like a peripheral one. We met through Liz, Stayed in touch through social media. She was always nice. Too nice. She messaged me 3 days after the rooftop event saying she was on my side. Even offered to help me rebuild my socials, which, at the time, felt thoughtful. Now, it felt strategic. I checked my Instagram block list. Guess whose name wasn't there? Mark's. Tara had tagged him in a photo after the breakup. Boys will be boys. Still fam. My hands were shaking. I picked up my phone and called her. Straight to voicemail. I sent her one message. I know. She never replied. That night, I didn't sleep. Because betrayal from a partner is one kind of pain. But betrayal from someone who watched it happen? That's worse. It means they saw the bruises. Even if they weren't physical. They heard the stories. Saw the photos. Heard my voice crack on the phone. And still said, let me tell him where she is. But here's the thing. I wasn't just hiding anymore. I was watching back. I installed a tracker on my socials. Private IP logs. Device pings. Guess what showed up? A ping from Mark's neighborhood. Same phone type Tara used. Logged into my private account. Using my saved password. The one I shared with her a year ago, just in case I ever get locked out. Now I was the one locked out. And she was the one letting him in. I didn't come back quietly. I came back with purpose. No dramatic Instagram post. No vague starting fresh caption. Just one change. I unblocked him. And I let Tara see it. Because rats always run back to the biggest piece of cheese. By noon, I got my first ping. Someone logged into my old Dropbox. The one he thought was still his. I had left it open on purpose, full of new evidence, half-buried documents, and one single, juicy file called confession_final.mov. He downloaded it within minutes. It wasn't a confession. It was a trap. A perfectly edited, timestamped sequence of every lie he ever told, narrated by me. Every fake text. Every business trip. Every woman. Every receipt. And the final frame? A screenshot of his GoFundMe page. Yep. Because after the fallout, after his mom froze his accounts and his boss put him on indefinite leave, Mark had the audacity to start a charity page. Title? Rebuilding After Betrayal. I couldn't make this up if I tried. But the real play? Was offline. I threw a party. Same rooftop. Same fairy lights. But this time, I didn't invite Mark. I invited his boss. His exes. Tara. And his mother. I even had a guest speaker, Harper, the woman he nearly moved in with while still married to me. She told her story, voice steady, hands calm. You could hear a pin drop. Because suddenly, it wasn't about me anymore. It was a pattern. A trail of wreckage stretching back years. And then came the email. From his boss. Subject. Termination confirmation. Mark was officially fired. Apparently that Dropbox file made its way to HR. Oops. But I wasn't done. Because a week later, Mark showed up. Unannounced. Greasy hair. Hollow eyes. That wild, unstable smirk he used to wear when I caught him lying. You think this is over? I didn't even flinch. It's been over. He laughed. That pathetic, wheezing laugh of a man who just realized he's not scary anymore. You'll regret this. You always come back. I stared at him. Really stared. And then said the one thing I knew would land like a bullet. I didn't come back for you. I came back for the people you hurt. You're just the noise between chapters. He left. Didn't even slam the door. Just shuffled away like a ghost who finally realized no one believes in him anymore. And me? I turned the music back on, poured a drink, and celebrated. Not because I won, but because I survived. You'd think that after everything, the cheating, the lies, the revenge, I'd be chasing some dramatic next chapter. A new man. A fresh start. Some tearful monologue about healing. But no, what I found was silence. And in that silence, I found me. The first few days after it all ended felt awkward. Like waking up in someone else's house. I didn't know what to do with the quiet. I didn't know how to relax without bracing for a sudden insult. No one was checking my outfits. No one was correcting my stories in front of strangers. No one was monitoring my tone. And without that constant background noise of emotional tension, the volume of my own voice finally turned up. I started going on walks. Long, aimless ones. No destination. No one to impress. Just me, a pair of earbuds, and an old playlist I hadn't touched since 2018. I listened to the songs I used to love before him. I went to coffee shops without checking if he liked the place. I rewatched movies he used to call stupid, just because they had feelings in them. I wore lipstick on a Tuesday for no reason. And every time I did something small, something quiet, something mine, I felt a part of me come back, like I was slowly recoloring a sketch of myself he tried to erase. One afternoon, I caught my reflection in a cafe window. I stopped, not because I looked good, but because I looked free. No tension in my shoulders, no tight smile, just a woman, alive, whole, and finally alone without being lonely. I started writing, not about him, about me, journaling, blog posts I never published, letters to myself from the past. One day, I wrote, "You didn't lose everything. You let go of something that was dragging you under." And I stared at that line for 20 minutes, because it felt like the ending of a book, and the beginning of something else. One night, months later, I was at a bookstore, browsing titles I couldn't afford in college. A woman tapped me on the shoulder. It was Harper, one of the women from the rooftop. She smiled. "You look happy." I blinked. "I think I am." We hugged. No drama. No closure talk. Just two women who lived through the same storm and walked out dry. I didn't hear from Mark for 6 months. No texts. No fake accounts. No surprise emails. Just silence. The same silence he used to weaponize against me? Now it was mine. And then, on a rainy Tuesday morning, I got a message. From an unknown number. "Hey, it's been a while. Can we talk?" I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, another one. "I messed up. I know that now." Still nothing. Then, "I'm not asking for another chance. I need someone to talk to." I almost laughed. Because for once, he had no one left to lie to. A week later, Liz called me. "You're not gonna believe this," she said. "He's living with Tara." My eyebrows shot up. "Seriously?" "Yeah. She's been footing everything, rent, food, even his car payment." "Let me guess. He told her he's starting over." "Oh, no. Better. He told her you ruined his career and stole his clients." I snorted. Classic. Because Mark never falls. He gets pushed. Always the victim. Always the martyr. Always rewriting the story with himself in the center. Until this time. The audience left the theater. Fast forward 2 more months. Tara messaged me. Yeah, her. The message was short. "I'm sorry. I should have believed you." She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't try to explain. She just admitted it. Apparently, after 3 months of Mark sleeping all day, complaining all night, and blaming her for everything, she'd had enough. She kicked him out. He tried moving back in with his mother. She slammed the door in his face. He posted a Facebook rant the next day. "Some people pretend to care until you're broken. But I'll rise again. Just watch." No one commented. No likes. No shares. Just digital dust. I didn't need revenge. Because karma was on a slow burn. He wasn't hated. He was forgotten. Worse than any punishment I could have planned. I'd check in sometimes, out of curiosity, not obsession. He bounced from job to job. Moved to a cheaper town. Started a coaching business that got 3 followers and died. Eventually, he went quiet. And I never felt louder. I kept writing. Started submitting essays under a pen name. Got published. Twice. Then a 3rd time. One day, a friend sent me a quote from an article she loved. "Let them call you difficult. Let them call you cold. Let them call you crazy. Just don't let them call you as ever again." She didn't know I wrote it. But I did. And that was everything. The last message I ever got from Mark came on a random Tuesday afternoon. Same number. No hello. No, how are you? Just 5 words. "I hope you're happy now." I stared at the screen. Then typed. "I am." And hit send. No punctuation. No softness. Just the truth. Pure. Quiet. Final. Then I blocked the number. Not out of fear. Out of boredom. Because his chapter was closed. And mine was finally being written by me.